What's up, everybody? It's the Scotso and Nutter Show, episode number 7. I'm Scotso Fryer along with Chris Nutter, and
What's
we are
up?
brought
What's
to
up?
you by Canadips, your
Canadips today.
alternative to smokeless tobacco. And thanks to those guys. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. It's been a while since we did a show. I was down in North Carolina enjoying the warm weather, Nutter. Watching my boys. Before we get started, I got to give a shout out to my boys. My boys at Ohio Northern University men's lacrosse, who last Saturday night beat John Carroll University for the first time ever in their program's history. 9 years, Nutter. They had never beaten John Carroll. Saturday night they did it, 8-5 in their building. Made it even better. So congrats to my Polar Bears. If you know, my son Dylan plays for them. Nutter, they said it was pretty raucous on the bus ride home from Cleveland, and even more raucous when they got back to Ada, Ohio, to the lacrosse house.
I can imagine. It's a huge accomplishment for them, man. That's great. And I know we were talking in the group chat, during the week, and that's a big deal, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very, very proud of them. Listen, I got a little emotional because I know how much it means to all those kids, especially those kids that have been there for 4 years, and especially the kids that have been there for 5 years. There's a lot of fifth-year seniors on that team, and they've worked their whole college career trying to beat that team. So congrats, boys. You earned it, but they got to take care of business. That was their first conference game. They play in the OAC, the Ohio Athletic Conference, and this week they play Capital. So Friday night in Ada, they will take on Capital. That's another big game for them if they want to win an OAC title. And Dylan said when he went to that school, he told Coach that he's bringing home that ring. So this is their year.
Nice.
This is the year they do it. So let's see. So good luck to them. And Nutter, before we get started into the sports and everything, I would just like to say a shout out to our friends down in Baltimore who are going through it right now. If you're living under a rock, you didn't know that we had a terrible accident happen in the city of Baltimore. Was it Wednesday morning? Tuesday morning? Yesterday morning, Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it was yesterday or Monday. Either that or Monday, one of the 2 days.
Yeah, ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and 6 people lost their lives. And well done by the first responders in less than 2 minutes, stopping traffic from crossing that bridge. Or that would have been much worse. And listen, if that had been a few hours later, during rush hour, that would have been horrific. That would have been even more horrific than it already is. So
I'll tell you what,
a lot of work. A lot of work that's going to have to happen.
I listened, myself being a first responder, I listened to the dispatchers and, all the first responders that, were there. And, it's a very unfortunate situation, but I'll tell you what, that was an unbelievable job that those first responders did. And, thoughts are with the families that lost loved ones. It's an absolute shame. And, it's a horrific accident. It sounds like that ship lost its steering and they had no control over the ship. And if anybody knows anything about those, look at all the cargo that thing was carrying, man. There was no stopping it.
They 25 stories high, Nutter, stacked with containers. 25 stories high, going 8 knots, no steering.
Yeah, very, very.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah, you're not stopping it, man. I hate
to break
it to you. And I
guess they tried to drop the anchor, but it just wasn't. It wasn't happening.
Yeah. So it's tough, man. But
too tough to shop those things. They don't stop on a dime.
No. And fortunately, it's sad to say it this way, and I don't want to sound callous, but thank God, the lives that were lost were at a minimum. That could have been, like you said, Scott, if that happened a couple hours later or even an hour later, that's a totally different story. And
absolutely,
but it's a shame, but our thoughts are with them and in Baltimore and Maryland and all those people out there. So,
and in honor of our friends in Baltimore, I am consuming, I'm consuming the official beer of Baltimore. It's a National Bohemian, otherwise known as a Natty Boh. And it's the official beer of Camden Yards. That was the first time I ever had a Natty Boh, and I fell in love with Natty Boh. And when I was down in Maryland a few weeks ago, I brought myself home a case of Natty Boh. So I'm going to enjoy it.
I'll be honest with you. I've never had Natty Boh.
Well, I will make sure that you have.
I was just going to say you'll have to save one for me. That's awesome.
Second only to my love for the Busch Lattes.
Yes.
So, you see Mr. Boh on the can there. He's a that's always know when you're in Baltimore. When you drive into the city at night, you see Mr. Bo on top of the brewery lit up. You see his face
Yep.
up there.
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And
Awesome.
I love going to Camden Yards and enjoying a cold natty Bo on a hot day in Baltimore. So
I'll tell you what, we talked
get well to
about
that city.
yeah, we talked about maybe getting to Camden Yards this year
Yeah,
for a trip. That'd be Camden Yards is gorgeous. I loved I went for the first time I think going back oh boy, 4 or 5 years now, and
yeah,
it was amazing. It's a great ballpark. It's a great, atmosphere. One of the more
absolutely.
baseball feeling stadiums that I've been to, which is really cool. So, and plus I got to see the Red Sox get absolutely smoked like 13-1. So, that
Nice.
worked out very well. But yeah, so yeah, tough situation out there, but hopefully, they recover well and they have a lot of work ahead of them getting that bridge fixed. And I can't imagine the situation that they're in right now dealing with all that. So
Yeah, it's and hats off to the mayor of Baltimore too. How about that? Yeah, you know how the media can be like they don't care. They're vultures.
mm,
They just want news. They want stories. They're just like, what are
right.
we going to do? How are we going to fix this? He's like, listen, we have people still in the water right now. Let's
Yeah.
worry about the people that are still in the water. Keep the main thing, and let's not worry about what happened and how we're going to fix it. Let's worry about the families of the people that are still in the water. And that was
Yeah.
props to him, man. That was you don't see politicians say stuff like that very often. So good on him.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully the Orioles, I have a soft spot for this cup, man, and hope the Orioles can bring some love to that city here during the next few months.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're gonna be
So
talking about the oh, you good?
we're talking about baseball because guess what, Nana? Tomorrow is opening day.
Can you
It's
believe it?
opening day.
Can you believe it? It's
Baseball
uh
is here, baby.
it's
Let's go.
it's crazy, man. It went by so fast and honestly over the past 2 or 3 days there's still been a lot of movement as far as there's a couple trades that went down, there's a couple free agent signings that went down. It's been a while since we've been on the show, guys, so there's a lot that has happened. However, obviously we have the um Shohei Ohtani controversy, which we're going to talk in depth about. A lot of plot holes in this story, and I don't think the
Hmm.
story is over. I think it's far from over, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, and then Scott and I are going to talk a few of the trades that have happened. A few free agents got signed finally, and we're going to make some predictions as far as the divisions and maybe who's going to be in the World Series, and we'll get into a lot of that. So definitely a baseball oriented show tonight with MLB starting tomorrow. Finally, I'm very excited, and we'll get into. I know hockey playoffs start. I think next week, right, Scott?
Uh, no, we
Or is
still
it
have
the
a
week
couple
after?
more weeks.
Okay,
April
gotcha.
15th is the last game of the regular season.
All right. So, and that shows you how much I pay attention to hockey. But
Yeah,
we do have our new member of the Scott Onato show that's going to come on and talk some
awesome.
hockey with Scott
Yeah.
next week, I believe. So we got a lot to get to, Scott. So what do you want to start with, man? There's a lot going on right now.
Listen, there is. First of all, we forgot one other thing. Peter Angelos, the owner of the
Oh, yeah,
Baltimore. Baltimore's had a tough week.
yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Angelos, longtime owner of the Baltimore Orioles, passed away this week at 93. So MLB did approve Rubenstein as the new owner
Mhm.
of the Orioles. So they're. I mean, listen, everybody that's been following baseball for more than a couple of years understands. Angelos was a key figure in bringing a lot of those really, really good teams to Baltimore in the 90s, but he's since kind of moved on to I hate to say the word cheap, but there's no other way to put it. The Orioles have been cheap over the last 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
So maybe with new ownership now, they'll move into the category of spenders. Not like the Dodgers maybe, but
Right.
'cause I don't know how they're still spending money.
They're
As
still
they
spending
just
money as
landed.
of this afternoon.
Yeah.
So
They extended Will Smith, their awesome catcher, for a couple more years. I gave him a ton of money. So, but yeah, tough week for Baltimore. But let's hope the Orioles can bring them some joy. I'll have a tough time rooting against the Orioles in 2024. So,
yeah, yeah. Plus they're going to have a great team. I mean, it's going to be
oh
tough
god,
It's going to be tough to get by those dudes, man. We're going to talk a little bit about that too, but yeah. So like we said, guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. I know it's been a couple weeks. Scott is coach of varsity lacrosse over at Fitch High School. I'm super busy with work, so we try to get on when we can, which is kind of nice because it's more of a relaxing atmosphere. We get to do this still, which is awesome. So,
Yeah,
Scott, let's get this out of the way as much
we
as I
got
would.
it. We got it.
It's gonna be the story of the year, no matter what happens. This is probably one of the biggest. I don't want to say stories in sports, but it probably will go down in history, depending on the outcome of this, as one of the biggest stories in sports ever, and that's the Shohei Ohtani gambling scandal.
Hmm.
So if you guys have not been paying attention to the world of sports, which is perfectly fine, some people don't have the time to watch it. However, Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter got themselves a little jammed up, and it came out that Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, who we all know very well, he's basically been living with Shohei Ohtani, standing by his side since he's been in the MLB. Supposedly, according to the report, stole money from Shohei Ohtani
Yeah,
and
depends
got
on who you
into a
believe.
yeah, right. And this is the facts that we have. Supposedly stole money from Shohei Ohtani upwards and got himself into a gambling debt of upwards of $4.5 million. And we're going to get into how in the world a bookie would actually allow that type of money to be basically credited. But yeah, kind of a crazy story. Shohei Ohtani's claiming he had nothing to do with it. He said that his interpreter stole money from him. But Shohei Ohtani's name was listed in the bookies
Yeah.
documentation, and there's a lot going on, Scott. And you know, Shohei Ohtani's the face of baseball. I think a lot of
Yes.
people will basically say, you know, oh well, MLB's not going to let Shohei Ohtani go down for this. This is a cover up. Everybody's saying it's a cover up.
Uh,
Interpreter's the fall guy. So I don't know. But we're going to get into it real quick. So Scott, I want to know what your thoughts were when I saw this news broke like late last week, maybe 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I went to bed and my phone started blowing up, and I'm like reading it, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This has to be a joke. This has to be some sort of crazy joke that somebody's making up a story, but it's real. It's very real. Um, we all know that gambling in sports is a big no-no. So we have the face of baseball, and supposedly one of the best human beings on all of planet Earth is now jammed up in a gambling scandal. So I want to know what you thought when you first saw this break the news.
First thing I thought was, okay, this is wild because who it was,
Mhm.
and then the details started leaking out, and I said, okay, well, everybody likes to jump the shark. They like to say everybody likes to jump the shark, and they like to go out there and make up their own story, as you will. Uh, but I wanted to wait and see what else came out. Right, I started to form my own opinion because you see this lots of times with guys, and when they get too free with their money. Because I mean, let's be honest, the guy makes a ton of money,
Mm.
and you see a lot of these guys that trust people with their money and they shouldn't. So I wanted to wait and see what was coming out. But then the story started changing, and then depending on who was talking, they had a different story.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a minute, something done right, right? We talked about what I say in the chat group. If it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's a duck, and
Mhm.
this looks like a huge duck to me, Otter. I mean,
This is a huge duck.
I'm not going to say how I know this, but I would completely disagree with anybody that says, "Oh, the bookie just gave him a line of credit and Shohei's helping him pay his gambling debt." Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Not saying how I know, but illegal bookies. Okay, we're not talking about FanDuel. We're not talking about DraftKings. We're not talking about Barstool bets. We're talking illegal bookies because that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
In
Yep.
California, gambling is illegal. There was an
Yeah.
illegal bookie that they were using, and there is not one single bookie in the United States or anywhere in the world that is going to give anyone that kind of line of credit, a $4.5 million
Mhm.
line of credit. If you're a
for a guy that,
$300,000,
yeah, for a guy that's making 300
no,
grand a year,
you're not
it's
getting
not
that
going to
money.
happen. No, no. And I'll tell you what,
Exactly.
Scott,
No one's doing it. I don't care who your best friend is. Not right. People say, "Oh, well, they probably just gave it to him knowing his best friend is." No, absolutely not. That's not how
no,
bookies work.
no.
They don't make their money by just trusting people. No, because you can borrow the money, but you're going to pay it back. That's how these things work. And
Yeah.
I
So
don't care who you are or
one
what you
way or
think you
another,
know.
yeah.
You don't know that there is zero chance that dude had a $4.5 million line of credit. Zero shot. And there's
And the
some of my Jersey peeps can pop on right now. Some of my Jersey peeps back home can pop on right now and back this up because there's no way. And
yeah,
there's not a bank in the world that's going to allow a $4.5 million wire transfer without the person who owns the account because it was in Shohei Ohtani's name.
mm-hmm.
They're not going to allow that person to make a $4.5 million wire transfer without him being there and physically signing. Power of attorney, poppycock. No way in hell. This stinks to high heaven.
Oh,
Ohtani.
dude.
I'm not saying I'm not. First of all, I'm going to address the people who think that this is akin to the Pete Rose thing. It's not. It's completely
It's
different.
not. It's no.
Unless
It's
he's
totally
betting
different.
on baseball, and which he was. I don't think that was the case. It's not the same thing. So stop.
Right.
Stop with the Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose is a bum, and he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. As a baseball player, he does.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we've talked about this on the show. And by the way, happy anniversary Monday. Just coming Monday, Nader. Nader and I have
Yeah.
been doing the show together 3 years now.
Yeah.
And we talked about it before on the show, Nader. Pete
Mhm.
Rose was a great hitter. One of the greatest, 4 or 5 greatest hitters of all time. That's not debatable. But he got caught up in something illegal against baseball's rule. He broke the code. As
Yep.
player manager, he bet on not only did he bet on baseball, Nader, he bet on his own team. Yes, it was to win, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You
It's
can't do
wrong.
that, folks. I hate to break it to
And
you.
there was a lot of other sketchy things going on. And he, in exchange for MLB dropping their investigation, he agreed to sign a contract that he would never be allowed into Cooperstown. So he's
Mhm.
not into Cooperstown because of his own thing.
Right.
Yes, I know he admitted that he bet on baseball. Everybody wanted him to admit it, but it doesn't matter. He's not getting
Right.
into the Hall of Fame. You put him in, you got to put all of them in. You got to put
Yeah.
Barry. You got to put Roger. You got to put Palmeiro. All those other guys who cheated. You got to put them in too.
Mhm.
You can't put Pete Rose ain't going. This is not the same thing. Ohtani was gambling on sports, and he got in a little too deep. And this guy is the fall guy. And let me ask you this question: did you see the story about they looked up his college? He never got a degree from what was it, Boston College? They said he went to Boston. Was it Boston College?
No, it was oh god, I wish I had it
I
up.
don't know
It
why
was
Boston College is in my brain.
Riverside. I
Something.
think it was
He never
something.
got a degree.
Yeah, no. It seems like this interpreter was essentially kind of scammed his way into the system from what I can
Yeah.
gather. Um so there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of plot holes here. There's a lot of investigation that's going to have to go on
Yeah.
between the MLB and those pesky 3-letter agencies that initiated this investigation. And to your point, Scott, to go back a second, I was listening to WFAN the morning that all of this broke. And you can imagine, I mean, if anybody knows New York City or any of the big cities in the United States, there is a ton of illegal bookies. There's bookmakers everywhere. It's been going on forever.
Facts.
It's just,
Yeah.
so I will say this much. Listening to Boomer and Geo in the morning, they had to have had at least, I would say 6 that I listened to, dudes that basically said without saying it that they were bookies or they used bookies. And they're like, there's no way. They said exactly what you said. There is no way. Doesn't matter how much money you have or how much power you have. There's no way a bookie's giving you a line of credit for that
Absolutely
much money.
not.
It's not a thing. It has never been a thing. And lines of credit are slim anyway in the bookie world. You know what I mean?
Not
Like
unless you are Shohei Ohtani, you ain't getting $4.5 million.
right. And that's the thing. Like there's 2 wire transfers for $500,000 in Shohei Ohtani's name to this bookie. Now, Shohei Ohtani is claiming that this guy, this interpreter, he trusted him. He was family, and he stole from me. How in the world can you explain the fact that Shohei Ohtani didn't know how much money was being spent in his bank account? And I understand there's a lot of celebrities that say, "Oh, I'd never check my bank account. I don't need to. I don't need to worry about checking my bank account." Well, you mean to tell me Shohei Ohtani doesn't have an accountant? He doesn't have an accountant or
Right.
somebody that is responsible for taking care of his money? Total BS.
Somebody didn't say, "Hey."
Total BS.
And I also don't believe when he said the first time he knew about it was when this guy stood up in front of the team and told him in the locker room after the Padres game. Absolutely not.
Way.
That's absolute garbage. And then him not talking and then putting out a statement and not taking questions. He's not taking any questions about this. The Dodgers are keeping him under tight wraps.
Mm-hmm.
And and all of this comes down to they're blaming the language barrier, the culture barrier. It's a crutch. Yeah. It's garbage. He's guilty, and he has to be suspended. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy has to be suspended. Now, I love the guy. He's great for baseball. I would hate to see him suspended because of everything he does. But hey, it's the whole duck theory, Nader.
Yeah,
this does not look good for the Shohei Ohtani camp.
No. What's up, Chris? How are you, man? Yeah, it doesn't look good. And to be honest with you, this is my thought process. MLB can open up an investigation and do whatever they want. They don't have to, but they are, which I think was going to happen regardless. Right. But hate to break it to you, the 3-letter agencies, FBI in particular,
IRS.
IRS
is the most powerful agency in the country.
They don't care about what Major League Baseball is doing. I hate to break it to you folks, because those agencies have just a tad bit more power than Major League Baseball does.
You're not the NFL.
Major League Baseball.
If it was the NFL,
you know yeah, exactly. Major League Baseball could say, "Hey, we did our investigation. We don't see any wrongdoing here." Blah blah blah. But inevitably, in my opinion, it will come out that Shohei Ohtani was directly involved in this. This is just my opinion. And he's going to have to pay the price for it. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, you can blame the cultural differences. You can blame the interpreter, the language barrier, whatever. If Shohei Ohtani was illegally betting on sports, whether it was baseball or not, he's going to take a hit for it.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. And, in the world of sports these days, everybody's sponsored by FanDuel or DraftKings or, Jared Carrabis just went to Underdog Sports, like Barstool. This is the world we're living in right now, is sports gambling. This is what it is. It's finally been made legal in a lot of states. Yep. And for a lot of people, it's fun. A lot of people have severe addictions to it and they lose their houses and their families, whatever. But professional athletes can't bet, especially illegally through bookies.
Yeah.
Like you have to know that, right? Like
there's going to be an apology coming soon. I'm telling you, there's going to be a Shohei Ohtani press conference that he's going to address the media, and he's going to be like, "Look," he's going to say, because before it gets leaked out that he was involved, I mark my words, there will be a press conference where he will admit that he was involved.
Yeah,
and then baseball has no choice.
Yeah, they have no choice, and let's be real, the story was flimsy from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like nobody had their story straight. If this is a cover up, which, in my opinion, that's all the light bulbs are going off in my head saying this is a cover up, man. They're just using this dude as a fall guy, and Shohei Ohtani's gonna have to look in the mirror and be like, I may at some point when this gets out, I'm gonna have to say that I lied, and that and I potentially lost a lot of fans, lose my contract. Like it's ugly, man. It's ugly.
And it is bad. It's a bad thing. If you're a Dodger fan, you're punching air right now, because all the high hopes, man, you had for this year, and they're teetering on the edge, right? Because if he goes, your season's over, buddy.
and think about it this way too: the Dodgers have had no luck with signing some of these guys. Right? They got Urias, who is gone for domestic violence.
Yep.
Trevor Bauer, who had his whole thing. He's trying to make a comeback. He was found not guilty, but still another situation, right? And now you got this Ohtani thing that is going to be hovering over you for the entire season, depending on how long this investigation takes. And forever, you're going to have this thought in the back of your head, like, man, but did Shohei actually bet? Did he gamble illegally? Like, are we going to just let this go under the rug? Your morals come into play as an ownership group, and Major League Baseball doesn't want to see Ohtani go down, because guess what? The viewership goes down. The Dodgers aren't going to sell out every single game. It's a tough situation. And when I saw I wouldn't have been shocked if it was any other Major League Baseball player, any average baseball player. But then when I saw that it was Ohtani, I was like, yo, this is bad. This is bad. So I mean, it's a crazy situation that he's in. It's a crazy situation baseball's in, but at some point it's going to have to come out. They're going to have to do something about it. Scott, I think you muted yourself. There you go.
I'm back. Yeah, my mic.
There you go.
My mic went out. I don't know what happened.
No, it's all good,
dude. The truth's going to have to be told sometime. There's our boy Scotty. I knew he was going to jump in. There's way. It's like they said, hey, they went to somebody's kid, somebody's 5-year-old kid, and said, make up a story for Daddy about Shohei Ohtani and why he would do this. And because the story has changed so many times, and it's just one thing after another. You don't even know what to believe anymore. So everyone's immediately defaulting to he's guilty, and it just looks bad.
Yeah, it looks terrible, and I guess my thought process is, what is the backlash going to be when this comes out? It's going to come out. All the details are going to come out at some point, and everybody's like, and I asked the question too, like, how in the world can, we need to know if Shohei Ohtani let this guy have his bank information. Guess what? It's not illegal to give somebody your bank information. If I want to give Scott Fryer my bank information, he's not going to get a lot of money out of it. But if I want to give him my bank information, I can. It's not against the law, and that's information we're never going to know, because the public doesn't need to know that. It's personal preference to whoever's in charge of the bank account. But Shohei Ohtani's name was with that bookie. That bookie came out and said Shohei Ohtani was a client. His name was on the wire transfers. Here you go.
There's no reason for those guys to lie, man.
No. Why would they? They're already jammed.
Why would they protect?
They're going to be doing Fed time anyway. They're going to be doing a ton of time. Why hide it now? Right? If anything, whoever the bookie was is going to write a book about this later on while he's in prison.
Well, it's being investigated.
Like, dude,
FBI's involved. The IRS is involved. It doesn't like it. It looks like it's clips for Shohei for a little while. So we'll have to let it play out, and we'll have plenty more to say about it as more stories come out. But the big news really is opening day tomorrow. We got a full slate of games. The aforementioned Baltimore Orioles, they're home tomorrow against the Angels, the Shohei Ohtani-less Angels. So they're starting out at home, which is probably a good thing for the city. Our team, we're starting on the road. We're starting in Houston. Not a favorable matchup for us tomorrow, Nodder. We got Nestor against Framber Valdez, and we know how it is against Houston. But, hey, Yankees lineup, it's pretty solid. I mean, with all our pitching woes, even with DJ starting the season on the injured list, I still like our offense. Yeah. I mean, now's a good time to go out and pick up a Gio or Urshela. Yeah, that's where forget about pitching right now. Go get Gio or Urshela.
Well, the Yankees did they did a trade today. If you guys haven't seen, I don't know if have you seen this yet?
I have not. I went right from practice right home to the.
You've been busy. So the Yankees in a 3-team trade traded Ben Rortvedt, the catcher that was supposed to be the next guy that never played a game. I don't think, maybe one game. Traded him to the Tampa Bay Rays, and then there were some trades to the Marlins, and we ended up getting John Barrett, who's 34 years old. He's a utility guy.
Perfect for the Yankees. 34 years old utility guy.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the catch, Scott. He's actually got some very good numbers. He hit 294 last year. He had a 907 OPS, 7 home runs, stole 16 bases for the Marlins. He primarily played shortstop and third base, but also plays second base as well. And in 2022, he led all of MLB in stolen bases with 41. So, I mean, my thought process is if this guy gets on base, he's going to steal some bases. And we needed a utility guy, right? DJ's out.
Yeah.
Peraza is out, I believe.
Yep.
So we needed that. And Ben Rorfet was just taking up space. I have zero
Taking up
problems
roster
with him
space.
trading him away. But everybody that is talking about this guy and some of the videos I've watched, he's 34, but he can play three positions very well. And when he gets on base, he's very fast. So I'm happy with the move. I think it's a huge addition to this team, especially knowing the Yankees and the IL and everybody getting hurt. He's going to be big for us.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a bottom of the order guy, which is great. And we got a viewer here coming in with this guy's absolutely right. Now, if you want to put that up, he nails it. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with those.
It's absolutely correct.
Ohtani out. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Those guys have no loyalty to anyone.
No.
He doesn't give a crap about Shohei Ohtani. He probably didn't even know who the guy is.
Yep. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So you're absolutely right, Steve, and thanks for tuning in and commenting. Yeah, absolutely. So, But yeah, no, we're talking about the Yankees lineup. I mean, I like it. The addition of Soto, and I like what Boone did. I don't know if you saw what Boone said. This is your team too. You know what I mean? I know you're new here, and we have Judge, and we have Stanton, and we have Glaber. We're gonna have thank you for first time viewer.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Steve. We appreciate you stopping in, man. That's awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, dude, the Yankees I feel like they have a good lineup. They're going to score some runs this year. I feel like eventually they will add some pitching. I mean, Baseball Reference has us finishing with 79 wins this year. So we've been talking about that in the chat group a little bit with Scotty.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it accurate? Nobody knows. No. It's like trying to predict the NFL draft. Nobody knows. Won't know until it happens.
I mean, that's a pretty, in my opinion, that's a pretty brutal prediction by Baseball Reference. And I know
with the amount of offense they have, I can't see that.
I think and you kind of said it, Scott. The one thing the Yankees do have is a much better upgraded bench. We have a better lineup. We got guys
left-handed hitting
now. Left-handed hitting finally, right? We needed some left-handed hitting. We went out and got 3 left-handed hitters in the offseason.
Oh, by the way, one of the best left-handed hitters in all of baseball, by the way.
Yeah, like we got Soto, we got Verdugo, we got Grisham. Like we're going to be fine in the hitting department. I think we're going to score plenty of runs, but obviously the big talk, and we haven't been on since this happened, but obviously Garrett Cole is going to be out a minimum of 2 months. It doesn't even sound like he's picking up a baseball for the next month. Kind of scary. Cole's been hands down the most durable pitcher in all of baseball since he's been in the league. So, you sign a guy like Garrett Cole who throws that hard and gets a lot of innings under his belt to a big contract like that. I think you're going to see wear and tear, right? And I hope that this elbow situation doesn't turn into Tommy John. But at the end of the day, if it does, I would rather it happen now. Like just do it now. But we're gonna need another starting pitcher. If we're on the brink of making the playoffs, they're gonna have to go out at the trade deadline and go and get somebody. Because I just don't know if this rotation, you're relying on Rodon to come back and be a comeback player of the year and get back to his regular form. I tell you what, you're
going to need Schmidt to step up. You're going to need Luis Gil is going to be our 5th starter. I mean, I like that. I like the youth at the back end.
Yeah,
but I do worry about Rodon. The verdict's still out on Stroman. I think Stroman and Ray is right. Ray is right because I hate saying that out loud. It sounds so bad when I say it out loud.
It's tough to say. Sometimes.
Ray is right. No, he's absolutely right. We laugh at ourselves because it's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah,
we have good pitching because listen, the Mets would be happy to have what we have. Stroman and Luis Gil and Nestor and Rodon. I mean, it's not terrible, but not having the literal best pitcher in baseball on the mound for you for 2 months, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, there's people out there that already think that the season's over because Cole is gone. And I don't believe that for a second. Michael Kay actually came out and basically said, hey, you might as well call it a day. Like it's done. But at the end of the day, if Carlos Rodon even shows a slight improvement like he did towards the end of spring training, he threw some really great spring training games. Clark Schmidt has looked fantastic all spring. Stroman has looked fantastic all spring. So those three guys are going to be huge, and all three of them are going to need to perform at a high level and be consistent if we're going to make a run. And obviously, not having Garrett Cole in that situation is brutal. But you can say that we can complain all we want about pitching, but there's not a lot of teams out there that have a Garrett Cole, and we rely a lot on Garrett Cole. Over the past several years, we've relied a lot on Garrett Cole because we've had no other pitching. We've just been kind of piecing
and you know
it
what?
together.
There's only a handful of teams in the league right now that can their fans can't complain about pitching. Right? The Braves being probably the best one, the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And those two teams come to mind, the Astros, who are just having an embarrassing.
Look at the Texas Rangers, right? They have no DeGrom, they have no Scherzer. They're not going to get them back maybe until late summer. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're fortunate. I'm glad the Stroman signing happened. Clark Schmidt's been looking good, like I said. And you know, Rodon, I've been saying it since day one, since the offseason started. Rodon is the game changer for this pitching rotation, and he needs to go out there and pitch. And he came into spring training in shape. He looks a million times. There's a complete, total opposite difference in how he's been pitching during the spring. So, you know, we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Nestor's got the ball tomorrow against Houston. Nestor's been a little bit injury prone over the past year. He's had some shoulder stuff. He's, you know, whatever. But you know, it's the first week of the season. You're going to see a lot of different things happen. You're going to see a lot of surprises. So I think we'll have to just be patient and kind of see, and hopefully Cole comes back, come summertime, and we can go from there.
We've already got a couple of postponements too, Nod. A couple of rain.
Rainouts. Phillies. I think the Phillies and the Mets are both
Phillies Braves. Phillies Braves.
I'm sorry.
And Brewers Mets is rained out.
Yeah.
But you have a couple of marquee matchups: Sox and Mariners. Sox ace Bellows pitching tomorrow, kid. Against Luis Castillo, and you got the Cubs and the Rangers. That's a big game. Rangers first home game back since winning the World Series. Winning the World Series last year. And you got Blue Jays Rays right off the bat, and the Dodgers taking on the Cardinals. Do you know the Cardinals didn't hit a home run in spring training? Is that true?
I saw that, and that's obviously the Cardinals are not very good. They're just not going to have a good season at all. No, but yes, I did read that, and I thought that was very interesting. Scotty Bergen actually brings up a very, very good point here. And for those who don't know, last night, the final of the Scott Boras clan finally signed a contract with the Texas Rangers. Scott, they wish that they got him back. But Jordan, what a move by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Such a sneaky last-minute move. So Jordan Montgomery signed a 1-year, $25 million contract with the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks now have 3 of the top 15 pitchers in baseball in their starting rotation. And
Diamondbacks are sneaky good, man. I mean, they were in the World Series last year, but everybody should know that.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you what, that's a great move for Arizona, man. I'm telling you, they have a very good team. And you know, I don't know if that's where Montgomery wanted to go at the end of the day. It did come out, though, that the Yankees did make a very nice offer for Montgomery, and it turned out that he just didn't want to go back to New York, which is what I've been telling people for a long time. Since the Yankees traded him, he had a sour taste in his mouth, and I don't really blame him. So, Montgomery to the Diamondbacks, that's a big deal for them. I don't know if there's no word on like when Montgomery's going to start. I'm assuming he's not going to see. I would imagine maybe the first week and a half, maybe 2 weeks of the season, depending on how ready he is. But I mean, can't go wrong with that contract. $25 million for a year. I would sign Trevor Bauer to that contract today if we could.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I still feel like that guy's going to be a Yankee by the end of the year, but we'll see. The fact that nobody signed him just proves that there's collusion.
He absolutely shut down the Yankees in that.
I mean, we didn't bring our A squad. Let's be honest. We didn't bring the A team.
But the dude was throwing 99 miles an hour.
Oh God, he looks good. The breaking ball was good. I mean, he'd be at number 2 on the Yankees if he started. Right now, he'd be our number 1.
Yeah, he would be.
I mean, I'd love to have. Let's get him out here.
Yeah,
I mean,
why not?
The fact that nobody has signed him right now just proves collusion in Major League Baseball. That Manfred probably told teams nobody signed this guy.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, listen, he does have some baggage. He's a little bit of a weird dude, but he's extremely talented.
I love him. I think he's fantastic. I loved him when he was with the Reds. I loved him when he
Yep.
was with the Dodgers. I would love to have him as a Yankee. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
critics be damned.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the Dodgers, today the Dodgers opened up their wallet again somehow. I don't know how they're doing it, folks, but the LA Dodgers signed Will Smith, their catcher, who's very good. I'm a big fan of Will Smith, to a 10-year, $140 million contract extension. Last year, Smith hit 261, 121 hits, 80 runs scored, 76 ribbies, 19 home runs. He also played in 6 games. So the dude is durable.
Dude, that's a solid offensive season for a catcher. Plus, he's a good backstop too.
And I mean, listen, we all know, for those who pay attention to baseball, catchers are a dime a dozen these days. There's not a lot of them out there left that can be durable and actually catch for a full career. And Will Smith seems to be that guy. Like I said, I followed him a lot last year. I was a big fan. Hopefully, I hope Ray's not listening, but I'm hoping to grab him at some point during the fantasy draft next week. But yeah, dude, I know the Dodgers deferred all this money to Ohtani, right? Like, they deferred it all, whatever. Maybe they're like, well, maybe we won't have to pay Ohtani because he gambled on sports. So let's go sign Will Smith. Who knows? But listen, dude, the Dodgers are going for it. And I love the signing for Will Smith. That's a long contract for a catcher, though, in my opinion. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah,
but
possibly.
I mean, listen, good for them. Good for Will Smith. He got his bag, man. And he's a good player.
Get your bag, bro.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. So let's we're gonna go ahead, Nana. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, a lot of these guys need to change. The Boris clients need to like get out of Dodge and go sign with some of these other players, because they're getting paid and these other dudes aren't. So maybe it's time. Who knows? Maybe Soto leaves Mr. Boris and decides to sign an extension with the Yankees in a few weeks. Who knows?
Let's go.
You never know.
Strike while the iron's hot, guys. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Yankees have a history of not wanting to discuss contracts during the season, but this is a generational player. Like, you could have 2 generational players on your team, meaning Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Why would you not want that? I mean, exactly. We got it this year, but why would you not want to keep that? You could be the delusional Met fan that thinks they're signing him. Because remember when they thought Judge going to the Mets was a lock. It was a mortal lock. And everybody else knew otherwise.
Yeah.
Met fans are like the most delusional fan base in Major League Baseball.
God, that's
second only to the Dallas Cowboys fans. But at least the Cowboys have won something.
Yeah, well, that's all Mets fans are talking about right now, because let's be real, the Mets aren't going to be in it. Pete Alonso's going to get traded at the deadline. Go somewhere. And then they're not going to have the Yankees.
Imagine him on the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because listen, as much as I hate to admit it, Riz is on his way out.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Riz, I hope he has a great season. You know how much I love him. I adore Anthony Rizzo. Yeah. So you gotta be honest with yourself. He's a little long in the tooth, as they say.
Yeah, and I truly think at the end of the day, Aaron Judge is not going to be an outfielder for his entire career. I think you will eventually see Aaron Judge move to first base. I think it's inevitable.
Yes.
And listen, if Rizzo goes down and DJ's out, like, we need a first baseman, folks. I hate to break it.
My favorite Dallas Cowboys fans.
Yeah, Rich is Dallas Cowboys fan.
Rich? He picked up on it. He heard it. He picked up on it. So I love you, Rich. I do. I had to get that in. Just be glad your Rangers are the best team in hockey.
Yeah, he wasn't
first
happy
team
the other
secured
night,
a playoff spot last night. Yeah, they're the best team in hockey, best record in the league. They're probably going to win the President's Trophy. And you know what that means, Notter? I hope the Raiders win the President's Trophy, because there's a curse on the President's Trophy winners. Last year, the Boston Bruins had one of, if not the best season in the history of the NHL, and they got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah.
So we can all expect that, because we all know that's going to happen. Just Rich picks them. Rich picks them. He's a Cowboys fan. The Rangers are the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL.
Yeah.
They're gonna, every year is their year until it's not. So
until it's not, right?
Until it's not, and they'll talk big all season. The great regular season. Oh my God, here we come. Playoffs.
Yeah. Chris Payne, I'm on the same page as you, man. I totally agree. I think Judge goes to first base. We have too much outfield promise in the future here with Spencer Jones and Dominguez. So Judge will be a great. God, what a I just got a little excited right there.
A little
I'm not
bit.
going to go in. I'm not going to go into any more
Soto,
detail, but I just got very excited.
Soto, Jones, and Dominguez in the outfield,
Wow.
buddy.
Wow. Got to get that done. Got to get that done.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so hey, Lon,
Yeah.
let's get into we wanted to get into our predictions for the season, right? So we're not going to. We could go on for hours here, but we're
Oh,
not going
if
to.
we
We're going to just
if we were
some
going to
quick
do the
hitters.
yeah.
We'll see how they, and then at the end of the year, we'd like to come back and revisit them and see how we did.
Mhm.
Last year, Joey Stats, our friend Joey
Yeah,
Stats, he nailed it with the
he
Arizona
killed it.
Diamondbacks. He called that. He absolutely
He called
called
the
that. So
Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers. He was huge
yeah,
on both
and
of those guys, and he was big on the
yes, and
Orioles.
he
But
was on it.
yeah,
So
yep,
but let's start. Let's start in the American League, and obviously let's start with the American League East. Obviously, we're both huge Yankee fans, but we got to be honest with ourselves, right? We're looking in the mirror and we're saying we are special. We are going to win, but we both know at the end of the day we ain't going home with her, right? We ain't going home with
yeah,
her.
yeah.
So I really like the Baltimore Orioles this year with their youth. I thought yes they didn't perform well in the playoffs last year, but I thought that was a good experience for their youth, for their young kids to get out there and have a little bit of playoff experience, see what it was like. But now that's under your belt. Now you can move on. Now you can get ready to make that run. I think that they should have. You get a guy. I can't even think of a good guy that you like. I would love to have seen them sign Joey Votto.
Oh, the Orioles.
The Yankees fan in me didn't want that to happen, but if I was saying to myself, he would be a perfect fit in Baltimore because he's
Yeah,
loose. He would bring leadership to that team. He would be great with those young kids in Baltimore. I'm thankful that they didn't because he's in Toronto now. And the only thing I love about Toronto is A, I don't live there, and B, they have Don Mattingly. So uh, I think the Orioles are the class of the American League East. I like the Tampa Rays to finish second. The Yankees and the Blue Jays will battle it out for third, and then the doormats of the league of the division, the Boston Red Sox.
yeah. I mean, I don't think you're too far off, Scott. I also have the Orioles finishing first in the AL East. I think the big thing that I think some people are kind of already forgetting is the fact that they went and got Corbin Burns.
Oh,
That
it's
is
huge.
such a huge deal
Yep.
for that pitching rotation. You have a
Yeah.
veteran who is, Cy Young Award, has the experience. He's a leader. Everybody loves Corbin Burns, and bringing him into that young clubhouse is a big deal. A lot of people look at position players as leaders, but everything I have read, I'm talking like I know Corbin Burns, like he's my friend. But everything I've read and everything I've seen, he's a great leader, and he's going to be huge for them. Um, and let's not forget, uh, there's this prospect with the Orioles named Jackson Holiday. I don't know if anybody's heard of him. This kid is going to be in the big leagues this year, and he's
He
going to
will be back.
play.
He will be back.
And it's very understandable why they started him out of AAA. He's very young. He's 19. What is he? 19, I think.
Yeah.
Kid's going to be a stud.
He
He's going to
he got
be.
called up. He had a cup of coffee in the league in MLB in September, I believe. They called him up. Did they not?
I don't know. I thought he ended the season at AAA. I know he
Maybe
raked
he
in
did.
AAA.
Maybe I'm thinking of
I
somebody
think
else.
I think
Yeah.
he raked in AAA. I could be wrong though. So if somebody knows, please let us know. But I mean, they also have these two kids, Kyle Bradish, Josh Means. They're two very, very good pitchers who had great
Yeah.
numbers. They're both coming off of some arm issues, but they're expected to be back fully healthy. And you can't forget Adley Rushman, Gunnar Henderson,
Gunnar
Cedric
Henderson was the
Mullins.
kid I was thinking of, by the way.
Cedric Mullins. I mean, the
And
team's
they still
loaded.
have Cedric. They still have one of the best players in the league that no one talks about.
Yeah, and Rich, yes, that is Matt Holliday's kid. Yep.
Yep.
And I think
Hey,
he's going to
Randy
have.
Osgood has a question.
Oh, Randy, did
Randy
the Red?
Osgood wants to know: do the Red Sox have any chance to make the playoffs? And let me
No.
listen. I'm gonna be
Sorry,
blunt
Randy.
about this. No, they have no shot. They have no shot. I mean, listen. Tomorrow they have a shot until tomorrow when the season starts. We've seen stranger things happen, but listen,
Yeah.
who you let's put our Yankee hats away for a second, Honor. Let's talk about this.
Sure.
I'm glad that Randy brought this up,
No, yeah, it's perfect.
right? Because there isn't a Red Sox fan out there that believes that the Red Sox can be competitive this year, right? Because they didn't do anything in the offseason. We thought they'd be sneaky. They'd sneak in there. They had some sneaky links, as the kids like to say. but I don't think that they were serious about it. No, they did
No.
bring in Theo. They brought Theo back
Yep.
to Boston, which was great. It kind of pissed me off because I really wanted Theo to be our next GM. But he's what is he? Vice president of baseball operations at the Red Sox.
Yeah, he's
Listen,
gonna have
of all the
a
things
lot of
that
pull. He's gonna have a lot of pull.
of all the things the Red Sox did in the offseason, the Sox fans should be happiest about that because he brought you guys a World Series. He brought you two, at least two.
Yeah.
I mean, outside Bello, the Sox had no pitching. Right? They let Sale go for a bag of baseballs, and the guy's been lights out and he's born again hard in Atlanta. Did he give up a run in spring
Oh
training?
god.
I think he was been like money
He's been good, man.
all
He's been
spring.
good. He's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, other than listen, everybody, Rafi Devers is the best player on that team. You have some good young talent on that team. I just don't see where where the offense is coming from. One of the catalysts of that team, and you could say because this is the Boston MO. And stop me if you've heard this before. Every time a player gets traded or leaves Boston, like, how dare you leave Boston, right? How dare you?
Yeah.
They trashed the guy, but Verdugo was a solid player for that team. He's one of the catalysts of that team. He started a lot of things like you have Josh Turner, who's still there, but he was one of the other guys that doesn't get enough credit for the things that he did for the Red Sox. But you're going to miss Verdugo, I promise you.
Yeah.
And you can credit me for getting Verdugo to the Yankees because I told him he's going to the Yankees, and he laughed at me when I told him that at Fenway one day early last year. I said, "You're going to be a Yankee, my guy." And now he's roaming left field for us, and his walk-up music is now my ringtone.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
Yeah, so he's automatically my favorite player on the Yankees now. I loved him when he in Boston, and I just hated rooting for him because of what uniform he was wearing. But I don't see the Red Sox bullpen is not that great. I mean, nobody's. I mean, there's very few teams that can say they have a great bullpen.
True.
The Red Sox, listen, they're down bad right now, but they have a lot of young talent. Tristan Cassis is a really good young player.
Yeah.
A little weird, but okay. We're all a little weird. Walking around the outfield and doing yoga in the outfield with a thong on or whatever he's out there doing. Like,
he's a little odd, but
it's a little odd. But hey, the dude can mash.
Yeah, and the Sox have a relatively good farm system. It's clearly the Red Sox are not. They're not going to go crazy. And a lot of people forget too. There's a guy, Trevor Story, that plays for the Boston Red Sox. But the problem with Trevor Story is that he's got to stay on the field. That's the problem.
I was going to say, you can make fun of Judge all you want, but that dude gets hurt. I mean,
that dude is always hurt. And now I'm not going to lie. I was a little hurt on the inside when Boston got him because I thought that maybe the Yankees were going to make an offer to him. But at the end of the day, Trevor Story's a great baseball player, but the dude, like I said, can't stay on the field. And that's a problem when you are on a team like the Red Sox where you need all the help you can get. So, but we'll see. But yeah, Randy, to answer your question bluntly, I think Scott did it already. That's a big no for the Red Sox, but crazier things have happened. I don't think that's too crazy of a prediction though. So
no, I mean, I think that even the most staunchest of Sox fans, as proud as you guys are, and I love, as much as I despise the Red Sox as a Yankee fan, as a baseball fan, I appreciate the love that they have for that team in Boston. I love going to Fenway. I love the energy of Fenway. I never wish I was a Sox fan, but I wish that the Yankee Stadium would have the same kind of energy.
Yeah.
For the Yankees that the Sox fans have for their team in Boston. It's a great place to watch a game. If you've never been to Boston, if you've never been to Fenway, please do yourself a favor and get there. Stay for the whole game. Yeah. Because most fans do. Stay for the whole game. Enjoy all the things that Fenway has to offer, man. Because baseball ain't one of them.
Yeah. That's very true. You might find the outside of Fenway Park a little bit more than the inside, but
yeah. So hey, let's move on to Central, the American League Central honor, because this is the pretty. We can wipe this one up pretty quick. The Minnesota Twins are the class of that division. The Kansas City Royals could be a team that surprises people. That might be my sleeper team this year. I kind of like the Kansas City Royals, what they've done. A lot of young talent. Obviously, your boy Witt is the guy out there.
My guy.
I liked him. The White Sox are going to be garbage. The Guardians, they always hang around, but they're not a threat. The Tigers, same thing. They'll be another 79 to 82 win team. The Central is a terrible division, but the Twins are obviously the class of that division. If they can all stay healthy, they should win that division easy.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I agree 100%.
Out in the West, this is, my opinion, one of the two best divisions in baseball. You have the American League East, which is a logjam, except for the Red Sox. And then you have the West, which is a logjam, except for the Oakland A's. You could even maybe want to say the Angels, but the Angels were competitive.
Yeah.
Astros, again, I mean, they're getting old. The team's getting old. Their window's closing very quickly, I think. I think if this year they don't do it, you're gonna start seeing that team peel away. You're gonna start seeing guys leave. I think Bregman's a free agent at the end of this year. There's been a lot of chatter about him coming to the Yankees. Which, I don't know if that sits right with me, but listen, if I can handle seeing Euclid in pinstripes, I can handle this guy. I still think the Astros are the best team in the West. Obviously, the Texas Rangers are defending, but listen, that team in Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, that's a good baseball team, and if they can get hot and late in the season, and they can make a run, you could see the Seattle Mariners winning a championship in 2024. Now,
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree with you, Scott. Mariners are always sneaky good. They always manage to get in there at the end of the season. Obviously Luis Castillo is a favorite to win the Cy Young Award this year, in my opinion. Now that Cole is out again, but I like the Astros a little bit more than I like the Texas Rangers, only because
agreed.
the Astros always seem to find a way. Their pitching rotation
Their pitching
is
so good.
their pitching's tremendous. Christian Javier, you got Framber, you got Verlander.
They're probably second to the Braves, in my
and
opinion.
let's not forget. What did the Astros do this offseason? They signed the best closer in baseball.
Best closer.
Mr.
Well,
Josh
second
Hader.
best closer, because you got Edwin Diaz, still the best closer.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz. Yeah, true. But I don't think people realize how big of a deal that is, having that guy at the back end, especially with a team like the Astros, who struggle tremendously at home. They lose a lot at home. So I think securing Josh Hader is going to get them some more home wins, which is big. But Texas is obviously, very, very good. They have a good team, but without DeGrom and Scherzer, I think there's some question marks in that starting rotation. They also have a couple really, really young guys, potentially two guys fighting for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, their shortstop is phenomenal, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's decent. I mean, I wouldn't say he's phenomenal. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm talking about the Astros.
Oh, the Astros. Pena? Yeah, Pena's very good. I thought you were talking about Seager. I'm like, yeah, Seager's all right. He's
Seager's okay.
But yeah, no, I like the Astros again to win the West, and they're still a very, very good team, and they give the Yankees a lot of headaches all the time. So
just want to beat them once. Just shut up.
Yeah, just one time in the ALCS, please.
Because they're going to toot their horns tomorrow. They're going to bang the trash cans tomorrow if they beat us. And okay, great. Congratulations on winning Game 1.
Yes, exactly.
But we'll see how it pans out. But they're still the best team. For the playoffs, obviously, I like the Orioles. I like the Twins, and the Astros, and the wild card teams. I like the Seattle Mariners and probably the Rays. I don't know if the Yankees have enough this year. It's hard to say. It's going to be between the Rays, the Yankees, and probably the Rangers.
Yeah, I got Yankees. I got Yankees, Rangers, Mariners. I think the Yankees are good enough to get a wild card spot. Again, though, if we're in
2 straight years, not.
Yeah, no. I think the Yankees are good enough, and we talked about it before. They're going to put up a lot of runs. There's no question that they're going to put runs on the board. It's just their pitching. But from what we've seen in spring training, if these guys are pitching the way they are, which we all know there's ups and downs and ebbs and flows in the regular season. However, I truly think that if Rodon is healthy, and pitches the way that he knows how to pitch, I think we're going to be in relatively good shape. But I still think that you see the Yankees make a move at the trade deadline. Um, if they are in fact in like a position to take the East, I think you see them make a trade for another starting pitcher. But we never know. But I think the Yankees, Rangers, Mariners are all in there for the wild card.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, we'll shift over to the National League. This is a fun one. The National League East, fantastic division.
Yeah.
Except you have two really good teams. You have a decent team, and then you two ass teams, right? You have the Phillies and the Braves. The Braves are probably right up there with the LA Dodgers. I mean, I still think, despite what the Dodgers did this year, I still think the Braves are the best team in baseball. I'm picking them to win the American League or the National League East next year. The Phillies are very, very good. They can do some stuff. They did lose Lorenzen this year, so who's starting the season on the IL, by the way, for the Rangers. The Nationals are ass. The Mets are ass. I'm not even talking about the Mets because I don't like them. So I still like the Braves. I will. The Mets. I bet you the Mets will win somewhere between 75 and 85 games because I don't think they're as bad as everybody says they are. Because they still have some good leadership. They still have some good pieces. But I don't think they're definitely not better than the Phillies, and they're definitely not better than the Braves. So definitely the Braves winning that division. Phillies right in there for the wild card. National League Central is an absolute joke. I mean, I'm only going with the Reds because I like their youth. Obviously, we like Ellie De La Cruz.
Sure.
I love their youth, and hopefully O'Neill comes back for the Pirates this year. But
he had a heck of a spring.
He did. The Cardinals are a joke. The Cubbies, I mean, they're on the up and up. The Brewers, you never can tell with them, right? Because they have all the talent in the world, and they'll still be garbage. It's just that's a crapshoot. They lost Burns this year, so I don't know how they're going to do. I'm definitely going to go. I'm probably going to go Cubs.
Yeah, I went Cubs too.
Central to win that division, and then go out to the West. That's a logjam too, right? Because you have the Dodgers, who obviously signed every free agent in the absolute world they could possibly, and paid them nothing until 2037.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are obviously. The Dodgers and the Padres are the only teams that have only played games so far. They're both 1-1. So the Dodgers are not going to win 162 games this year, Dodger fans. So sorry about that. But
I actually hated the fact that they did 2 regular season games in the middle of spring training. I hate.
They need to follow the NFL model.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget before we sign off here in a few. I want to say something about the NFL. I have a couple of thoughts on the NFL that I've got to get out.
Sure.
But Dodgers, definitely Dodgers. I mean, how could you not pick the Dodgers? I mean, listen, they put up a ton of runs. They put up 17 runs in 2 games. 15 of them were in 1 game.
Yeah.
So in an absolute slugfest in South Korea after a good pitcher's duel in Game 1. Game 2 was an absolute slugfest.
Yes, it was.
That brought back memories of the Yankees Red Sox game in London.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you got the Padres. Listen, the Padres still have a decent team. I mean, yes, they lost Soto. Yes, they lost Hader, but they still have some really big pieces in that team. Obviously, they're going to hit a ton, and I still think Cronenworth is one of the most underrated players in the league that no one talks about, except if you're a Padres fan.
Yep.
But all the dude does is rake, and he plays a great second base. So I mean, I don't know. Padres, to me, they could be that team that kind of makes some noise and kind of puts a little scare into the Dodgers. The San Francisco Giants are going to be sneaky good again.
I agree. I think personally they had the best offseason out of any of the teams.
Yeah,
I mean, Jordan
absolutely.
Hicks, signed Jordan Hicks, Chapman, Blake Snell, and
They're
then
the
they got
Yankees West.
and then they got Jung Hoo Lee. I mean, we'll see
Yeah.
how that works out. He looks like he's going to be pretty good. But and Jorge Soler too. I mean, they loaded up this offseason.
But I mean, they got
So
Cease. I mean, listen, they got Johnny Brito out there. It's like Yankees West, dude. I mean, I want
that's
Michael
true.
trade us Michael King back, please.
Let's get Michael King back. Exactly.
Wandy.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I hate Brian Cashman for this, but Peralta, we could have had Peralta for nothing.
Yeah.
But you got Xander, you got Cronenworth, Machado. That's just the infield, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Tatis is still there.
Let's not forget. I was just gonna say, let's not forget about Mr. Tatis out there.
Yeah, that's still a good team. I don't think they can hang with the Dodgers, but I think that they'll compete. They'll compete this year.
Yeah.
I think the second wild card will come out of the West. I think it'll be the Padres or the San Francisco Giants. The Diamondbacks, that was a flash in the pan. I don't believe in them. I don't. They have some nice young talent. I think they rode a wave, and they benefited from that. But I think that's over and done with. I still like the Padres to be the wild card, the other wild card in the National League. So National League champs, easy day. I'm going Braves all the way. I still think the Braves have the best pitching in the league. I think that we always say good pitching always beats great hitting. I still think that last year was a punch in the face for them. I think that they're going to come back stronger this year if they stay healthy, and we're just assuming everybody's going to be healthy. But I think the Braves are the class of the National League. I still think the Braves are the best team in baseball. I say Braves National League champions will be the Braves, and I'm calling Braves Orioles in the World Series.
Wow.
And the Atlanta Braves
Orioles going all the way, huh? Okay.
I have the Orioles going to the World Series. Braves Orioles World Series. Braves win in 7.
I don't think you're too far off there, Scott, to be honest with you. There's a part of me that wants to say that the Dodgers are going to be in the World Series this year, just with everything that they've done. But we all know that the Dodgers choke every single time. And I think
listen, as a Yankee fan, we know that just because you buy all the free agents every single season,
sure,
just because you signed all the big players, that translates to nothing. Nothing, right? How many years do we have? Oh, we signed this guy, and we signed that guy. We're puffing our chest out and walking around, playing the parade, and it doesn't work out.
Right?
How many times do you see it? It doesn't happen very often that you put a team like that together and they go out and win.
Yeah, no, I mean,
especially in baseball where it's a long season.
Yeah, I mean, I truly like the Orioles too, Scott. Everybody knows how big I am on them. The only thing I have a fear about with the Orioles is the young players and then playing in the playoffs with really no playoff experience. But I mean, I like the Orioles. I like the Houston Astros again, to be honest with you. And let's not discount the Texas Rangers. I think that they could come back if Verlander and DeGrom come back and they can make a last minute run.
You mean not Verlander?
Oh no, I'm Scherzer. Sorry. I'm DeGrom and Scherzer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
DeGrom and Scherzer come back. I think that's a huge benefit. Obviously, that all depends on obviously how healthy they are. But yeah, no, I don't know about the Orioles in the World Series. But I like Texas. I had a tough time deciding because it's so early. But if I had to pick, I like the Astros and I like the Braves.
Okay, so, Astros would be a great World Series.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw this out there. We're going to get into player awards and predictions, but I think Chris Sale is going to be comeback player of the year in the National League.
I'd love to see that.
And
not in the Sox uniform,
right? And I think the new home for him with the Braves, a new organization, a pitching staff that's already pretty good. He's had a great spring so far. He can kind of reinvent himself in Atlanta because he's going to get a ton of run support. So
I think Spencer Strider didn't give up an earned run in the.
Yeah, he's a stud. The guy's
that guy's so good, dude. Plus, he has the best mustache in baseball.
He does. All right, Scott. So before we round this out, you wanted to talk real quick.
So let me get my NFL. Let me put my NFL hat on here. All right, listen. I'm not the only one. I am not the only one who feels this way. The NFL just outlawed the hip drop tackle. Now, why is that significant? You say because when I was in high school, I was 165 pounds. The only way I could tackle some guys was to do a hip drop.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't get hurt, and we blame we blame hip drops, we blame the turf, we blame this, we blame that. You know what? You know why guys get hurt so much? Because they don't get prepared for the season the way they used to get prepared for the season.
Right.
I had a long thought about this on the way to work yesterday when I was listening to the fan talk about the hip drop. And I'm like, no, this has been a thing since the last collective bargaining agreement that the NFL Players Association signed when they banned you could only do a certain amount of full contact practices in the spring or in the summer, and you can only do this many and you can only do this many two-a-days. When the players started taking over and they took control of training camp out of the coach's hands and put it in the hands of the players, that's when you started seeing more injuries. Yes, the players are bigger and faster than they used to be 30 years ago. We all know this because these guys are freak athletes that play in the NFL. Freak athletes. It used to not be that way. It used to be a bunch of bums that were out of shape, right? Even one of my favorite players of all time is Mark Bavaro. You see that guy without a shirt, in street clothes, doesn't look like an NFL player. A big dude.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't look like today's tight ends. I think banning the hip drop is dumb. Will it save it? I'd like to see how many injuries will it save? The new NFL kickoff rule, also dumb. You can only do an onside kick in the last 2 minutes of the game if you're losing. I mean,
yeah.
I used to hate the guys that would come on social media and say just go to two-hand touch, and I would laugh at them and say you're a moron. But now it doesn't sound so stupid.
It seems like it's what it's turning into.
Yeah. I mean, how is a defensive back going to tackle Travis Henry now? How are you going to do that? How is a guy that weighs 170 pounds tackling a running back that weighs 225? How is that happening? You can't hip drop. That's the way you get guys down. You grab him by the waist and you throw your weight onto the ground. And if a guy's feet get tangled up in you, so be it. It's a contact sport. Injuries happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I love a lot of the things the NFL did, right? Because again, you could have old curmudgeons like me who have been around forever, watching the NFL since the early '70s, that say, "Oh, back when I was watching it, kickoffs were awesome, and guys would get knocked out and come back and play later on in the game." Yeah, but again, I go back to what I said. You didn't have the freak athletes that you have now. I mean, some of these guys, I love what they did with the kickoff. The old where kick it from a certain distance and you can't return and the whole thing. They made it safer for the guys, and that's good because that's insane. I mean, I was on every special team that you could possibly think of in high school, and I loved running downfield and being the gunner and going out and just throwing the body all over the place. But you can't do that anymore.
Right.
Again, freak athletes. You got guys that are 260 that are like 2% body fat now.
Right.
And they run in a 4.340.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think the hip tackle is the thing that the NFL needs to be worrying about.
I mean, they did a good thing with, everybody complains about the quarterback hits, but again, back in your day, it was not the same. It was not the same.
I mean, look at all the non-contact injuries that happened last year. You know what I mean? Like the hip drop or the hip tackle is not something, in my opinion, that they needed to really worry about. But that's what the NFL is doing now is they're worrying about every single little thing. Yeah.
So, but here's what I'm going to say. And this is the point I wanted to make. The NFL does some things very, very well, and the NFL markets itself very, very well.
Sure.
Just ask the National Basketball Association. The NBA, this past Christmas, the NBA normally dominates Christmas, right?
Sure.
It's always on in my house. I mean, I remember the year I had COVID, 2021, I had COVID on Christmas. Dylan and I sat on the couch. We watched 10 and a half hours of basketball of the NBA because we couldn't do anything else.
Right.
That's a staple on Christmas Day. Well, last year the NFL said, you know what? We're going to play on Christmas Day, and you had two games. You had at Christmas Eve. You had some game. I forget what games were on Christmas Eve. You had a couple. Then on Christmas Day you had Chiefs and the Ravens, and I think the Niners played as well.
Yeah, there was a good lineup.
They tripled Nodder, the NBA viewers. The NBA had like 17,000 viewers, 17 million viewers. I mean, the NFL did like 50 something thousand people watch the NFL games that day.
Yep.
This year, it's on a Wednesday. NFL's playing two games on Christmas Day on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I did read about it. The teams that are playing on Christmas Day won't have Sunday games, obviously. The teams that have Christmas Day will either play Thursday or Saturday the week before. So you'll still have the same amount of games on if you played Sunday and then played Thursday.
Right.
So I mean, yes, you say, well, we're going to play a Wednesday game short notice, but that team will either play the Thursday before or the Saturday before. So they'll still have plenty of time to recover. And that's the other thing. You want to blame injuries? How about we don't do Thursday games?
Yeah. Yeah.
The NFL, I mean, that dude, they're just
Thursday night football. Like Thursday night football it's great. Like, you're towards you're getting towards the weekend. Like, oh, football's on tonight. Cool. Tomorrow's Friday. But it's like, dude, the Thursday night games usually suck. Like,
last year they did a good job. They did a good job of putting a good Thursday night games on last year. Now, as a fan, I love it because I don't just watch any football. I don't.
Oh yeah, same here. But
as you're a player, I mean, you're barely recovering from Sunday, and they're throwing you back out there on Thursday night, and when do you get a chance to heal your body? I mean, God.
Right, exactly.
You want to talk about where the injuries are coming from? Let's talk about how many games these guys are playing and when they're playing. Let's take a look at that. And I'm sure that there are smarter people than me that have already thought about this, but I think like I said, the NFL is basically printing their own money at this point.
Oh,
and they are the masters. The Christmas Day on a Wednesday game, two games that day. The schedule is not out yet, but there's some pretty intriguing matchups I'd like to see on Christmas Day because let's be honest, they're going to put two games on that people are going to watch. Right. They'll put like the Chiefs and the Chiefs and the Ravens, or the Chiefs and the Bills, or if Aaron Rodgers doesn't lose his leg in a game, it doesn't get hurt at some point. The Jets will be relevant, and Jets Dolphins, or something like that.
Yeah.
There'll be two good games. Probably the Cowboys will be on because everybody watches the Cowboys.
America's
Either you're watching them because you love them, or you watch them because you want them to lose. People watch the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It is, but Rich made a point a few minutes ago saying the NFL is becoming unwatchable, and it's almost to a point. But guess what? It'll always be the most popular sport because why? Because it's the best sport to gamble on.
It sure is.
It absolutely is. There's not another sport that's as fun to gamble on in the NFL. It's the only sport that I'll gamble on now.
Yeah. I mean, I very rarely bet on baseball. I mean, every once in a while, if I see something I like, I might try it. But yeah, football is.
What's better than a 5-play parlay hit during an NFL game? Nothing.
Exactly.
I just bet $50 and then won $900. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, the turnouts are a lot better. But all right. So guys, we're going to end the show here. It's been fun. Thank you all for tuning in. I know it's been a couple weeks since we've been back, but opening day is tomorrow. Baseball is back. We are very excited. And next week, I think we're going to have another guest on, our new member of Scotso and Nodder. I think Scott's going to be talking some hockey, I think. So
yes, sir.
We'll be getting into that, and we'll catch up on the first week of baseball as well. So everybody who tuned in, we appreciate you. Stick with us. I know our shows are kind of all over the place, but we get them in when we can, and it's a lot of fun. And we appreciate all the people that still come out. We have a new viewer tonight, Steve. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and
tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. And we appreciate all you guys. Scott, you got anything else?
No, guys, have a great week. Have a great opening day. Happy opening day. And once again, Nodder, happy anniversary, buddy. 3 years of marital bliss.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun.
Doing baseball together for 3 years on this coming Monday. So
yeah,
good times.
It's been fun. Hopefully, many more years to come.
Yes, sir.
And again, we appreciate all you guys for coming out tonight. So thank you. And we will be in touch and we will see you guys next week.
Have a great week, guys.
See you guys.